Morning, people. Welcome to Football Brownie. Hope you're well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe, and spreading the love during this pandemic. And boy, doesn't Brownie need some loving at the moment. Also, as well, check that ticker below. Please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Remember, subscription is free. If you haven't subscribed yet, you really are missing a boat of this madhouse of a Football Brownie community. Right, it's a Brownie and Daya show. I know normally it's a Friday night. Daya wanted to do his own thing because the day's banter is generating subscribers. So for once, I took it on the chin and I realised that Brownie needed to be second place in Daya's life for once. So
Brownie, just stop there, mate. I know you talk some bullshit on your show, but that's the biggest bullshit I've heard all.
We'd be used to coming second with Cardiff anyway.
Yeah, but if you do want to subscribe to the Day's Banter show, feel free.
Hey, nothing wrong with
Brownie had to shoot into Cardiff last night, is why the Daya and Brownie football show. Then 10 minutes later, he was back on his way home after throwing a wobbly in Cardiff. So there's the truth.
Yeah. Okay. Technically, that is the truth, but it's.
Right,
and we got a special guest today, Steve. We got a special guest.
Clive. Yeah, he's a regular. He's a regular to the Day's Banter. So, like what Clive has to say, subscribe to the Day's Banter show. Morning to you, Clive. Morning, mate. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm well, mate. I'm well. I'm glad.
To be honest,
I'm glad Rowdy said special guest. I thought he was going to say special needs.
To be honest, Clive, I actually got my dates wrong. I thought Arsenal Brentford was tomorrow. That's why I wanted to speak today. But anyway, hope you're well, Clive. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. And it doesn't matter what day it is, what time of day. I'm always happy to talk Brentford.
I know.
I'm always happy to talk football, mate.
You're coughing your guts up at the same time as you said.
Brownie. Have we got COVID screens for this stream or what?
What?
Have we got COVID screens for this stream?
What do you mean?
Well, Clive coughing away there. I need a bit of protection.
That's it, bloody things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
what you sweets these days, Clive?
What are you drinking at the moment, lads?
Cup of coffee, mate.
Cup of coffee out of me Brentford mug, mate.
I'm romantic. I've just done the washing up, so I had to use the missus's cup.
I've started early because I got a wedding. Right. Let's go into the chat first. First of all, Daya, one question. Have you checked your Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's gone up nicely. I got your text message on that one. My routine normally, mate, because it's Saturday, it's different. And I was late last night because I've done the watch along with Nathan and that. And then we've done a show after that. And I was knackered, mate, I've got to be honest. And I got to bed I'd finished out a bit of work, so I finished about 1:30, got to bed. And then I knew I had to get up early this morning because you dragging me on. You come up with this announcement of doing it first thing in the bloody morning. So
I know. Well, it's just
my routine is normally check my sales overnight, then check my Bitcoin, then check a couple of other investment stuff and that. And then I hadn't done any of it. And dogs wanted a shit, so I had to get down the woods to get them out. I looked at the weather forecast. I was in a rush for that. There's all been go this morning, and I'm all over the shop. I couldn't even get my green screen up, but I knew Clive said it looked fucking shit. He said on your bollocks, you ain't having one today.
But you okay with a Bitcoin, yeah? You okay today?
Very happy, mate. Very happy with the Bitcoin today.
And anyway,
what percentage we're up now? It was flying, wasn't it?
Well, Dogecoin was 13%, and Shiba was 11%, and Bitcoin was about 7%. Was it today?
Yeah, around that, mate. 8%, I think it was last.
Anyway.
Anything with Bitcoin, mate, it's like your tips. It can go up and down like a bloody yo-yo, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we're not here to talk about crypto. I just wanted to point that out.
8.2%.
We're not here to talk about crypto. Right.
That's better talking about bloody Cardiff City.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
Cardiff City and money don't go together, Clive, do they, mate? Do you know what I mean?
They don't, do they?
Mick McCarthy's rolling out the sales job now. I was reading the Welsh media.
We'll get to Cardiff. We will get to Cardiff. The reason I wanted you both
carry on. It's your show, Brownie. Your show. Carry on.
No, it's our show. But the reason I wanted to get you both on here at the same time was because West Ham played Brentford last week in a friendly. You both guys are ready to go for the new season. What's your opinions on how your teams would go? Really, what's you thinking of it all? And first of all, how do you both think the friendly went last week?
I'll start. I think right. If Clive don't mind, obviously. But I've got to try and stay awake. If I don't keep speaking, Clive, I'll fall asleep on this show. I thought Brentford gave a good account of themselves. I think Brentford will stay up, personally. I know Clive thinks they'll finish around 12th, but I think they'll be about 15th. Well, they'll do well to stay up. You know, their target is obviously the first season-ready club to come out of Championship is to remain in the Premiership. And that's a result, isn't it, at the end of the day? But yeah, it's a good players, mate. They could get West Ham, obviously, did have the full team out, so to speak, but nor did Brentford, really. So, but they gave a good account of themselves. It was quite a tight game. What was it? Only 1-0, wasn't it? So, yeah. No, I think I like Brentford. I got to be honest. I always enjoyed going to Griffin Park when
yeah. Well,
the old jumbo jets coming over your head. Do you know what I mean? If the game could be boring, but you'd like to watch airplanes land, it's fucking brilliant.
Especially if you're this side of London, going to Griffin Park was a great away trip. It really
was
was
so easy to get to as well, mate. Wasn't it? Straight up the M4 when you're in, or where obviously depending where you were travelling from. But I love Griffin Park, mate. And to be honest, that club got shafted by Ron Nodes, as we know, all part of the Sam Aman deal with Ron Nodes, that partnership, and it's really good to see Brentford recover from the Ron Nodes era, have a new ground. You know, Clive obviously knows more about that. But.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to just say that. So, Clive, what were your feelings about last week, and you know what you thinking about?
Pretty much the same as Daya, really. We did all right. We certainly didn't embarrass ourselves. West Ham wasn't a strong team. We didn't have a strong team. Both halves we had a mixture of regular first teamers and the fringe players. Worldly goal to win the match from Ben Rama, absolute screamer. As for what we're going to do this year, as Daya says, I can see us doing really well, mate. I reckon 12th we'll finish. We're not going mad in the transfer market. We're certainly not buying any Premier League journeymen or anything. Yeah. We've made a few new signings. I have total faith in our recruitment team, and I think we're going to do absolutely fine, and we're going to shock a few teams, shock a few of the bigger teams. And to me, if you take out the top 6, maybe even the top 7, including Leicester City now, what have you got left with? Not a lot, really. Not a lot. And it's those teams that are going to keep us up, mate.
Well, you know, you bang on a money there, Clive, because maybe a year or two ago, if you asked me that question, what's outside the top 7, I definitely would have put Everton into that bracket. You know, and the likes of Wolves I would have put into that bracket as well. But they both, you know, teams like that both seem to be dying off as well now.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, if you looked at, you have to focus, right? What had Leeds done on their first season, first up, and Sheffield United's first season? You know, it can be done, and recent proof, you know, is there for all to see.
I like Leeds, mate, and I liken ourselves to a little bit to them, because Beasler is, to me, Beasler's mindset is not like, oh, don't concede many goals. Beasler doesn't give a damn about that. Beasler's mindset is score goals. If you score one more goal than you concede, you got 3 points.
It's very refreshing, isn't it, to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we got goals right through our team, and yeah, we're going to score a fair few again, I think. But then I might be ignorant to just how strong the Premier League is. Until now, I've not taken much notice of it, to be fair. I just take notice of whatever division Brentford are in. So I might be kidding myself, mate. That step up in class maybe one step too far for us. I don't know.
I know what you mean. You know, as a Cardiff fan, I my focus isn't really on Premier League, but I know exactly what you mean there. Steve, Ben Rama. All right. Now we all know the issues with Lingard, and it doesn't look like he's going to be going back to West Ham after his very successful.
Well, breaking news: he got COVID now, mate. He's out today with COVID. Funny enough.
Well, he's gone to a gym in Merthyr Tydfil, has he? Right.
No,
Anyway,
no way. He's got COVID now. So
anyway, well, I'm just wondering, can Ben Rama? This is a very, very important season for Ben Rama's career. If he doesn't make that step up now, then
personally, I don't think when Ben Rama, the way he's played so far pre-season, mate, and at the end of last season, I can see Moyes' point. You know, he's a bit of an experience. He's giving the ball away in stupid areas you can't afford to do in a Premiership, which you get away with in a Championship, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right, on most occasions. But you can't give the ball away in the Premiership because you get mullered. And he'd done that a few times. I think we all moaned as fans, chuck him on more. But Moyes knows his stuff. But from what I can see, he's going to be outstanding this season. He gave an exhibition of football against Celtic. He just wasn't. He wasn't just good. He was fucking awesome, right? Yeah, and one of those flicks for that. I can't remember who scored it now, but the guy was out of this world. And he's been like it all through pre-season. We saw it at Brentford on Saturday, and I think in the first 10 minutes of the game, he was a bit in awe of himself, really, playing against his old mates and his old team, you know. And he got into the game well, and that goal was fucking something else, wasn't it? And
he didn't want to celebrate, did he?
And I'll tell you what, he's been playing exhibition football. Any kid who wants to be a football player and wants to look for skill, go and watch Ben Rama, because what he does with the football, he's got wands on his feet, mate.
Absolutely.
He's fucking brilliant. So regarding Lingard, I know there's been thing, but do we? Yeah, of course we'd like Lingard back at the right money. At the right money, fans have got to remember that. They're shouting, pay 20 million. Well, hang on a minute. He's only got 12 months left on his contract. You know, so wait to January and pick him up 3-4 million. Man United be desperate to get rid of him.
But who else will come into it, man?
Well, he doesn't have to go, mate, does he? He doesn't have to go. Everyone says that. Oh, who comes in for him? But if he wants to play for West Ham, which if you don't want to play for West Ham, well, don't fucking bother then, right? But
what was it?
Indications are he wants to play for West Ham. The words that he said earlier in the week when he got mullered by West Ham fans, because he said, the press made out he said that he didn't want to go to West Ham. That wasn't the truth. What he said was to Man United, okay, fine. If you ain't going to sell me, I'll sit on the bench for the year, or send me out on loan abroad, right? Run out to 12 months. Makes sense for the player, mate. Because in 12 months' time, let me finish. In 12 months' time, he will command a massive signing-on fee, which personally goes into his bank account, and the club gets nothing. So, what would you do?
Yeah. Right. Was it a kind of magical move, really, by Moyes getting Lingard in as a teacher for Ben Rama?
Not really, mate. I think Moyes take on the training ground. Ben Rama didn't need how to teach to play football.
No, defensively he needed.
But Ben Rama just not so much defensively, mate. He needed to learn when not to do the too silky stuff, shall we say, in the wrong positions. And you only learn that with a coach on the training ground, mate, right? And, it's most of it's listening. Just listening, being on the training ground every day, teaching him, where the positions not to lose the ball, where not to do the fancy stuff, which he done a little bit last season, which you, in a championship, you'd get away with that all the time, right? All the time you'd get. Majority of the time. Championship football was a totally different game, right? We already seen Scott Parker at Bournemouth now. Lovely ball up last night.
You're right, Clive. You're right.
Bloody
COVID screen. But you need to get them fags up, Clive. Won't be COVID killing you, be the fucking fact.
I gave up for 9.5 months, mate, and like an idiot, I started again.
No, I've done the same in 10 years. I stopped once and I had a bit of stress with a court case going on.
Oh, I thought you said that. I thought you were going to say you had a bit of stress with a former employee then.
No, but they came round, have a beer with them.
Going back to what you just said about Ben Rama, Daya,
I wanted to ask you.
if I was going to pick one fault with him last season, is exactly what you just picked up on. His showboat. It's wrong to call it showboating, but sometimes he just went too far. When it was better to just make that pass, he went too far.
Trying too hard to impress, mate.
Yeah. But he doesn't need to try to impress.
Nah.
Against Bristol City a couple of years ago, he rainbow flicked one of their players, and it was just, it's just absolutely amazing to watch. Amazing.
Well, like you say, you can get away with it more in a championship. Now you're in the Premier League, is a whole different ball game.
Well, last season, we beat 4 Premier League teams to get to the semi-final of the League Cup, and then we come up against Tottenham. And one thing I did notice, right, we did all right against Tottenham. We gave them a game, but they didn't give us any time on the ball whatsoever. None at all. And every time we made a mistake, they were there. They punished us for it. And we had to try and win that ball back.
Yeah.
All the other teams, Newcastle, Fulham, Southampton, West Brom, we beat them, and we beat them not easily, but we're more than a match for them. But Tottenham, they were a different kettle of fish. And they did show me, there is a big difference.
Yeah. What sides did the others have out as well? In a cup run, probably a weaker side as well, I expect.
The same as us, mate. We had a lot of B team players out playing for us. We certainly didn't field a our strongest team, even against Tottenham. It was slightly stronger against Tottenham, but even against them, there's a couple of youngsters in there. Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, right, it is true, mate. If you give the ball away in a Premiership, you'll get done for it. You'll get done.
You know what? Listen, he's slightly more skillful than the player in which I'm going to name, but I remember Moyes having a similar kind of issue with a player when he first came to Everton, when Moyes was manager, and that player was Stephen Pienaar, and what bloody career he went on. He was unplayable. He was unplayable at times, and very underrated as well by the media, because Pienaar, very very similar, was doing tricks in which he didn't have to do. It took him a year, maybe, or 2, and then he had his big move into Tottenham at the time. Moyes has got that teaching philosophy if the player has the patience to be taught. I think that's important, especially nowadays. If, in all fairness to Ben Rama, he could have threw his toys out of the pram and wanted a bloody transfer request in the summer.
Obviously, he's a clever lad. He's listened. He's listened, isn't he? He's listened to what he needs to do to be a top Premiership player, and other kids don't. They think they know, as kids do in all sorts of walks of life. They think they fucking know it all. But obviously, that's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah, and, it's like certain old fuckers as well. I think like certain old fuckers. I think they know crypto, and I know suddenly looking at their wallet and they see they.
Oh, we weren't talking fucking crypto.
Okay.
Daya, that game against Brentford, I noticed with Ben Rama as well. Was he given a free role? Was he, or does he normally play?
It looked like against Brentford. Normally, he's not. I don't think he gets such a free role. But against Brentford, it looked like they let him fucking go anyway. He was up the left, down the right, in the middle.
Because when he was with us, he was like a wing wizard. Do you know what I mean? He was always on the right, and his trademark, because he's left-footed, but he was on the right wing. His trademark was go down that wing, beat your players, and then cut in and shoot in on your left. But he looked like he was like playing behind Antonio.
Yeah, but he definitely had that free role thing, it looked like, unless he went off and done it himself anyway, but I wouldn't imagine that took place. But no, it looked like Moisey was probably trying a few things out against Brentford as well, wasn't he, to see what happens if he does give him a free run. It's a good point, because last season, he was out wide a lot for West Ham. We wanted him to get his first goal and all that, but he was stuck out wide a bit. So, but as Moyes been preparing him, like Brownie says, for the possibility of Lingard not coming back and filling his shoes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Looks that way at the moment.
But, right. One more question, then, Steve, on West Ham before I talk, Clive, about Brentford. And as a fellow Championship supporter, Clive...
How many? You having a wank there or something?
We decided to be...
Look at him go, Clive!
What?
That didn't look good.
What? No, I'm anyway, right. Right. I completely lost my trail of thought now. Right. Steve, Kiefer Moore. Now, it's my understanding, just reading local media, it's my understanding that Kiefer Moore needs longer of a rest because of a Euro issue. And that is why he may not be picked today, or maybe at the bench at best. Now, before any Cardiff fans jump in his chat, before Cardiff fans jump into his chat, Mick said this. Right, let's go through what Mick actually said a couple of days ago. Mick basically said, right, that he's very surprised no one has come in for Kiefer Moore. And if they were to come in, they'd have to pay a hefty price. Basically, roughly, that's what he said. To me, and to you, I'm sure, Steve, and to any other person who's worked in sports media and listened to this, these constant, comments, which regularly come out, that's basically selling Kiefer Moore.
Of course it is, mate.
Right? It's basically saying, look, if an offer comes in...
Browner, right? This would be your
situation. Hang on, let me talk. Right? If an offer comes in, he's trying to create a bidding war for Kiefer Moore. We all know the clubs who are interested. Well, we definitely do. Burnley's definitely one of them. There's a feeling West Ham could be.
No, West Ham ain't, mate. That ain't going to happen.
And maybe Leeds or Newcastle as well, right?
But I don't think any of them, mate. I'll tell you, I know what you're saying.
Go on.
And after seeing, this is only my opinion, right? I think Cardiff are skint, as we know. They ain't got a parachute payments, and they got a £15 million asset, or in their minds they got a £15-20 million asset on their books.
Yeah, they need to go with
the money from that deal would probably help them with their £3 million a month losses, right? Well, the losses might be less now, but
it's £25 million from no parachute payments. So,
but like we said, Mehmet Downman, your chairman, said we're losing £3 million a month, which Vincent Town himself is having to put in to prop the club up, right? Yeah. So if you've got a striker worth 15-20 million, I don't believe anybody's made any approaches. And I think the Cardiff board have sat there through out of season thinking, we get a nice bid in now for Kiefer Moore. We'll flog him on. He'll be the answer to a few financial problems. And the bids haven't come and the interest hasn't come. And I think Mick McCarthy's telling the truth in that when he says we've had little interest. But at the same time, he's in the paper, he's shouting, come and buy Kiefer Moore. Yeah. Right? Yeah, we need the cash. Do you know what I mean? And then when you see another, on the same day or might be the day later, your Captain Sean Morrison comes out and says, we're gonna get promoted because we've got Kiefer Moore. Well, that's the gaffer saying we need to get promoted. Cardiff need the money, mate. And there's no doubt about that.
We know that.
You predicted he was going to Burnley, which I heard the rumours of that at all, but there's been no, according to Mick McCarthy, no approaches or no interest. And Mick McCarthy's not a liar. What Mick McCarthy is, I've met him a few times, Mick McCarthy. He's a really nice bloke, actually. And he's got the silver tongue, mate, shall we say.
He knows how to play the game.
Of course he does. He's old and experienced.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the silver tongue. He's a smooth operator. And at the end of the day, Cardiff need the dough, mate. Right?
Yeah.
You've got a court case coming up. We've got 3 court cases coming up, isn't it? They could cripple you as well, you know. So, but on the playing side, no parachute payments coming in. He's been given the task of finding players out of contract or whatever. You know, he's made some good signings for not spending any money. Mick McCarthy, that James Collins looks a great buy. Well, not buy. You didn't buy him, did you? I don't think you bought him. But he looks a great prospect, mate. So, you know, I wouldn't be worried being a Cardiff fan, but you need, I think, on the Kiefer Moore front, the club need the money, and they've had little bids. He didn't really light up in the Euros, did he, Kiefer Moore? He played all right. He didn't light it up to prove
to be honest, is the suspension looming over him, because, you know, when he was jumping, you know, you had...
Yeah, but that was only a part of it, mate. He didn't light it up, mate. He didn't light it up for all clubs to go, wow.
I think his defensive play really
I'm not knocking the player, mate. I've watched him since he played for Dorchester Town, and I've admired him, how he went from Dorchester to Yeovil. Yeovil fans got on his back. He couldn't hit a barn door sometimes there, right? And he's worked on his game. He went to Torquay, then he went to Ipswich, I think it was, and then up to Wigan, and Wigan... Cardiff got a great deal buying him for $2 million time, you know? And then they invested $2 million and he banged in 20 goals in return. The normal thing is clubs will then, you know,
look at it.
The likes of, I'm not, it wouldn't be Brentford on this occasion because they got Ivan Tooney and stuff like that, right? But clubs like Brentford would step in, who've just been promoted, and have a good look at him, looking for goals to stay up for the Premiership.
Well, also, while you mentioned that, there was a link before Norwich as well, you know. Clive, would you take Kiefer Moore?
Nah.
No?
No, definitely not.
Not even as a plan B?
Don't need him.
Not even as a plan B, you know, if you're ever chasing a goal or something?
I think not for 20 million, no.
No, I don't think. I personally, I think at this moment in time, we're getting so far into the transfer window now. Anyone comes in for 10 million.
I think he likes you, Clive. He's off again.
anyone that comes in 10 million, I think we'll take him. I think Cardiff will take 10 million now.
No, I think they would, mate. I think they would, and I think they need the money. I think. Mick McCarthy's probably planned the future without Kiefer Moore, with this James Collins coming in, and I think they're flabbergasted that they haven't had a bid to milk to get the money. The interest obviously will start dying down now. He's unproven obviously in the Premiership. Personally, I don't think he is good enough to be in the Premiership, mate. To be honest, but I think he's at his level. A top Championship club. That's just my opinion. He could prove everyone wrong. But that's just my opinion, really. But I wouldn't. If I was an owner of a football club in the Premiership, unless I needed an out-and-out target man, right, who could bang the ball in the back and head or feet, because he's got good feet as well, but he's not.
Yeah, too right for a big guy. Yeah,
he's quite mobile for a big lad. But it's a bit of a punt. It's a punt, isn't it? You know, it's a big punt that whether it pays off or not in the Premiership, and that's why I think there hasn't been much interest, mate, because clubs like Brentford have got people in position already. Who's Norwich got up front? Brentford obviously got Ivan Tooney. You say plan B. Brentford have already got plan B. They got players there for a plan B.
Yeah, but
Norwich got Timmy Pookie.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. So will he go? Would he be an asset to Norwich now?
Yeah, probably not.
Not sure. January transfer window, if he scores another 15 goals before the January transfer window, you might see some action when clubs in the Premiership are desperate for goals and their squads haven't performed how they were planned to perform, sort of thing. But I don't see it, mate. I don't see him going now, to be honest. But hey, stranger things happen in football, isn't it?
There's still another 3 weeks to go, yeah. But wouldn't you two say that the transfer window's been relatively quiet right through the first 2 divisions?
Yeah, but it's normally a bit. Yeah, it has been quiet, and they always are after a Euro Championship, especially the bigger transfers. We've only seen Man City this week starting to open up their dealings, haven't we? Spurs have just brought one in now, Romario, whatever you call him, right? And it's starting. West Ham now that's done deal centre half. That's confirmed. So this week has been a week of movement, isn't it? But there's been no interest. Cardiff and Mick McCarthy admits himself he hasn't had any interest. Normally people are fishing, a few phone calls. Is he available? What sort of money you're looking for? All that goes on beforehand, before bids come in. So Cardiff haven't had any interest. That's the thing there, according to Mick McCarthy. And Mick McCarthy's not a liar. He's a salesman. He's a silver-tongued man. Very, very, very astute fella. And he, like Mick McCarthy, any player that he wants, he has their wife's name on his mobile in brackets next to it, for instance. And when he talks to the player, the first thing he always says to impress the player is,
John Terry.
How's Michelle? Or how's, yeah. That's what an operator. He's slick operator. That's a great tactic of his.
Clive, sorry, Steve. Clive, with your transfers, have you been impressed, you said? So who have you brought in?
Well, I'll say I've been impressed. I've never heard of the players that we've got. I'm impressed.
Represented by Daya.
I'm impressed with our recruitment policy, mate. With our recruitment team, they rarely get it wrong nowadays. The players we've brought in: Christopher Asia from Celtic, centre back for 13.5 million. Frank Onyeka, a 23-year-old midfielder from Midtjylland, which I believe was 7.5 million. And the biggest surprise, Miles Peart-Harris, a 19-year-old lad from Chelsea.
He sounds like someone from a borough of Chelsea anyway. Jesus.
What I'm surprised about him, he's 19. Normally, when we buy 18, 19-year-olds, they're put straight into the B team. And how it works at Brentford, the B team train in exactly the same way as the first team. They play in exactly the same way as the first team. And the thinking behind that is when the coaches think that they're ready to step up to the first team, that transition is nice and smooth because they've already learnt the Brentford way of training, already learnt the Brentford way of playing. But this young lad, he's just come straight into the first team. And he's got no experience. They must see something in him. But
what goes on, Clive, isn't it? Brentford's success and the best move that Brentford made was scrapping their academy, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely.
With all that cost, and people realise how expensive it is to run an academy.
It was costing Brentford £1 million a season.
Yeah, they are. And that's just Brentford Academy, isn't it? Other academies cost even more than that, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think it was a great move, a clever move to do that, because all they're doing is picking up. They're letting all the other clubs do the work, like this Chelsea lad, for instance. Let all the clubs do all the other work, train them, get them fit, get them. All that goes into making somebody a football player, right?
Yeah.
And then they're picking out players that they think they can suit their side, and they're just picking them up. And they're getting bargain prices, really.
By scrapping that and forming the B team, we totally flipped the coin. Yeah. Any players that we used to have in our academy that were coming on and looking good, the bigger boys would just come down and take them. Yeah. Now we're going to the bigger clubs and we're taking their players.
Yeah, no, I get that.
They're players who just ain't going to get a chance at Chelsea or Arsenal or Tottenham or whatever, or Man U or whatever. Our B team, we've now got 3 or 4 ex-Premier League Academy players that, quite frankly, are looking damn good. We've also got a couple now, Josh Da Silva being one in the first team, and Chris Mepham, we picked him up from Chelsea, put him in the B team, promoted him up to the A team, first team, and then sold him for £12 million to Bournemouth. That's just totally flipped it on its head.
The location aspect completely helps Brentford as well, doesn't it? I don't think you could have that kind of philosophy in Cardiff, to be honest.
No, I think you could. You can't produce nothing.
Really? Because you've got so many bigger clubs around it.
Cardiff City have lost the grading of their academies over the last few years, right? They've had players poached, like Clive says. Anything decent coming through has been poached by Man City or whatever. Right? I can't remember the names. I don't follow that much, but that's what's happened in Cardiff. I think Cardiff would be an ideal thing for Cardiff to actually scrap their academy.
Yeah, that's fun. Well,
no, you take it right. You take. I'll give you an example. A lad coming through, Sean Spence. Cardiff City were raving, and I've seen Sean Spence play football since he was 4 years old down at Barry when he first started playing football. Now he was meant to be the big next player, and he's a bloody good player. Don't get me wrong, but Cardiff had to release him. They released him, and he went there. He went up to Crystal Palace. I think he's out with Palace now, and he's back in Wales, I think. But maybe one of your Cardiff fans knows where he is now. But that's a perfect example. All the money that would have been spent on nurturing not just Sean Spence, obviously, but all of them, right, per season. An academy costs a fortune, and Cardiff haven't developed anyone of any potential. Really, there's a few coming through now, isn't there? I think you got.
Yeah. Isaac Davis and so on.
Whether they do any good in the Championship, we have to wait and see. But I think the last one that you had out was would have been Declan John. But what happened there? Played in the Premiership. Under Malcolm Mackay, wasn't rated by Ollie, bombed out. Where did he go? They went to Glasgow Rangers. Got signed by, and then ended up at Swansea. Then we got on the Swansea side.
Yeah, I don't get what you mean, though, Brownie. We're in London. You got 3 major hubs, haven't you? You got London, Manchester, and Liverpool, and those 3 places they are going to attract. They're going to be more attractive to younger players.
Yeah.
They'd rather go to Manchester than, no disrespect, they'd rather go to Manchester than Cardiff.
Yeah, or Hull, or
go to London,
or Newcastle.
It's fact.
Yeah, but if you've got a player, right? Cardiff used to do it. Let's go back to the old days.
Hang on.
When Cardiff didn't have an academy.
The unprofessionalism is kicking in. 2 minutes, you two talk along.
It's like Cardiff had Derek Brazil, right? He was a great player for Cardiff, lower league. Cardiff were obviously in the lower leagues then, but Derek Brazil, they had him from Man United. In the old days, they used to do it. There's Mark Delaney they found when he was down West Wales. What a player he turned out to be. They didn't put him through an academy. There's loads of them, mate. There's loads of them. I think from Brownie's point of view, from Cardiff's point of view, they'd be probably better off scrapping the academy, hoping to get one golden nugget out every 10 years, because they haven't had anyone out really, have they, since Aaron Ramsey, really? Top level. Do you know what I mean? So, and what they spent in that, you take it, what they probably spent on it's over £1 million a year, I know that. Ramsey went, what was that? That's got to be 15 years ago, was it? Something like that. So, that's 15 million. No. But I just think Brentford done it really well, mate. Hey, there's loads of lads out there getting released by academies every day, rightly or wrongly. And if you could just nick 2, 3, 4 of them, pick them up, you're going to get the ones who with more desire. Especially, you say, well, you can have a chance with Brentford. They were hoping to be a Man United player or a Tottenham player. Yeah, you're going to get the ones with more desire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But what youngsters seem to like about the Brentford B team setup is that step up towards the first team is there. It's very, very tangible. Whereas like academy, you go through your under 12s, 13s, you go through all your age groups, and as you get closer, you're getting further and further away from actually playing for that first team, aren't you?
All getting that,
these foreigners coming in.
They all want that pro contract at 17. Chelsea don't give them, Arsenal don't give them a pro, right? They get a pro contract with Brentford. Makes perfect sense. So you're you're being our B team and you can progress really well. What league do your B team play in, Clive?
We don't play in a league, mate. We just play a series of friendlies, and that can be, they're competitive games. That can be anything from, like, say, Hanwell Town playing in the Middlesex Charity Cup, which is into that. They could be playing them, and then the following week they could be going away to Rangers, for instance, and playing their under-23 team, or Liverpool. Benfica, Porto. They travel all over Europe playing different games, and they're just so many different levels that they play to give those players, these youngsters, so much more experience. Because our B team is mainly 17 to maybe 20 years old. They're playing proper men's teams, hard men's teams as well. All these non-league players, they're not so easy to play against.
Yeah. Well, if you speak to most managers, they don't like this under-23 system. Chris Wilder was saying it last night, funny enough, in the game with Bournemouth and what was it, West Brom. You know, he don't rate the under-23, and I know Cardiff don't rate the under-23 team, you know, level sort of thing. There's been a lot of calls in there to go back to having reserve team football.
The Pontins League. We're old enough to remember the Pontins League.
Yeah, but you think if you're a player and Arsenal haven't given you a pro contract, you're sniffing around to get one, aren't you? Why not? Yeah. I've always said, drop down, go and prove yourself. You know, I've said to players in the past. But, you know, I used to see players going from, say, Swansea's academy, get picked up on a compo payment, right? Go up to Man City, get private school education, have a chauffeur to take him to school. They have it all the trimmings. Never made it in the game. He signed one of them. I can't remember his name now. He couldn't even make it to Cardiff afterwards. Cardiff gave him a season. He went to Ipswich after that. Never settled. Never done anything at Ipswich. You know, but that's that big name. They go the wrong way, mate. It'd be better instead of going to Man City, where unless you're going to be worldly class, of course, right? But Man City don't actually breed that much, do they? They release more than which is the name of the game. But giving a kid, you know, all that kid would have probably been better off, if you think about it in hindsight, staying at Swansea, getting into the Swansea side, proving himself, you know. I've not said the kids at the past, don't rule out lower league again.
The prime example of being rejected and moving on, but, you know, using that to help your career is Declan Rice.
Well, there you are. What an example there. Chelsea released him, 14.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. All right, West Ham had the foresight, Tony Carr and whatever, to pick him up, and saw something in him, and now look where he is now. Yeah. You know, and you could call. I hate to say it, but West Ham were then.
Well, at the time, would West Ham have been in the Championship?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, mate. So I think the philosophy of Brentford, I think, is bang on, and it's got and they hats off, a fair play to hats off to them, is put them in the Premiership, mate. And that's what's got them there.
Let's go to the chat. I do apologise if you guys think that I'm ignoring you. Nathan, morning lads. Hi, Nath.
You're tough,
my friend, Tough D. It's Williams 98 123 says, will you be going to a game today, Brownie? Should be a lovely tribute for Whittingham today. Unfortunately, I say this, biting my lip. I hope a groom isn't watching this, but unfortunately, I'm in a wedding today.
So, Brownie, on that point, then, you've had a boycott of Cardiff City since Vincent Tan turned you red.
Yeah.
I was going. Are you saying you're ending your boycott?
I am. Yes, I've made a decision.
You're not a man of principle.
My boycott.
You're not a man of principle.
Oh, come on, Steve. It's been nearly 10. It's been nearly 10 years now.
10 years.
Well, 2012.
You boycotted your club for 10 years.
Well, 11 years. No, 9 years. Sorry, 9.5 years. Ever since.
But who does the boycott hurt, mate?
Oh, it's hurt. It's like it
hasn't hurt Cardiff. It hurts you, doesn't it?
Oh,
hey, Cardiff were fucking relieved.
But you know what? Clive, to be completely honest here, right? What it's also taught me a few things, right? They are quite a. Steve knows what the situation at the time, and I'm sure he would back me up on this. But there were people in which, before I done that boycott, there were people in which I thought were very good, close friends. When that happened, I realised that their friendships weren't fucking close at all, if I'm honest. I realised they weren't really friends at all.
It divided the fan base massively. There was people arguing like you've never known before. It was all what went on behind the scenes, really. Yeah. And the way it was handled as well, and everybody just fell out.
Yeah, so fell out. And anyway, yeah, so if I didn't have a wedding, it would have been today. And regarding Whittingham, personally, people know how close I was to Peter and the family. But personally, I hope he retire. I wish he retired a number 7 shirt. and he should name a stand after him. That's my personal opinion. I know what people have different opinions, but that's my personal opinion. Steve, do you want to mention anything? You do him as well.
Peter Whittingham was a fantastic player and a fantastic ambassador to Cardiff City for over 10 years, wasn't he? And great player. Retiring shirts.
I think so.
I do get it because we retired number 6 of them. Bobby Moore was Bobby Moore, mine. He'd won the
Yeah,
world.
I know, but you're talking of
you could get into a habit. You could get into a habit. You start a habit off of retiring shirts. You're gonna have no numbers left. A lot of clubs.
Well, Jude Bellingham, Birmingham's shirt has been retired, hasn't he?
Who?
Bellingham. You know the youngster who went to Dortmund from Birmingham.
Right.
Jude
that's what I mean. See,
but you're talking.
I think you only retire a shirt. You only retire a shirt if it's a super real super reason for doing so. Peter Whittingham, great player. Don't get me wrong. Great servant at Cardiff City. Great bloke. To retire the number 7 shirt, I'm not so sure, mate.
It's all about opinions. It's all about memorial
stuff. Great. I'm not a big believer of commonplace retiring shirts, mate.
Well, fair enough, that's fair enough. It's all about opinion. Clive, just on retiring shirts.
Well, Exeter City down our way have done it for Adam Stansfield. I get why they did that. I'm guessing, excuse my ignorance, but I'm now guessing that Peter Whittingham's died recently, has he?
Oh, yeah.
I'm aware of that. If they're like a club legend, yeah, I guess so, because nowadays numbers don't mean anything, do they? The days of 1 to 11 have gone. They went a long time ago.
So you've got more than
Birmingham City retiring it for Jude Bellingham. That is just stupid, grubby, bloody nonsense.
Yeah.
They sold the player and made a mint. He's not. That's it. That's just stupid. That is, mate. But retiring a shirt for a club legend who's passed on, because numbers don't mean anything nowadays. Yeah.
I think numbers still count, though, mate. I think if you want to be a striker, you want to be number 9. If you're that dynamic midfielder, you want to be 7 or 8.
No Cardiff striker seems to be wanting number 9. That's for sure.
Well, that makes you wonder what's going on there. Still with your Gareth Bale, mate. To be honest,
you only think that, Daya, because you're like me. You're old school, mate.
Hey, I'm old school as well.
I can remember. I was looking after a player at Cardiff. He was number 8, right? And Kavanagh, I'm sure he was number 8. Yeah, 8. Yeah, definitely 8. And Kavanagh came in and wanted to. He said, part of his contract was he'd be number 8. So it does mean something to players, mate. And then I remember this player, I won't mention his name, having a sulk on because Kavanagh was given 8 and he was given 15. But numbers do mean to a lot of players still something. I think they still do the fans as well, mate, to be honest with you.
I think only the old school fans.
I know what you're saying, Clive, about the numbers. We see, you see Carlos, I'll go back here, Carlos Tevez coming to West Ham was number 32. To me, he was a hero anyway. But I don't think there's any need to retire shirt numbers unless it's exceptional circumstances.
Yeah. It's just an opinion. That's all I'm saying. Right.
And also, Brownie, to be fair, right, he died after, a couple of years after playing for Cardiff, sadly. But he'd been to Blackburn and did he go Blackburn?
Yeah, but you're still in the community, Steve. You're still in the community,
He was still in the community, but, and it was a terrible, terrible accident he had in the boozer and that. But it's not really the retiring. Not for me, anyway.
Okay, it's all about opinion. It's all about opinion.
Let's just, for God's sake, it never happens, but we won't go and use a name as the example, but a number 10, he gets killed in a car crash on the M4 or whatever, right? Do you retire his shirt then? Because you say, well, you've done it for Whittingham, so you should do it for him.
I don't know.
No, only if they're legends. If they're legends.
Yeah. Right, David Druce, obviously he is,
But just to say though, Peter Whittingham was a total legend at Cardiff. He was a fantastic player, fantastic bloke, right? But I think a tribute game today is fantastic. To have something long-lasting for fans to remember Peter Whittingham. I tell you what, I'd put a statue up of him outside the ground before retiring, for instance.
How about naming a stand, then?
Then name a stand. Nothing wrong with naming a stand. What your stand's called in a minute. You got quite bland names.
Canton, Ninian, Grandstand.
The Canton stand is famous from Ninian
Yeah,
Park.
I know. So you can't really do the Canton.
The
You
people
could do
that
the
want-
Grandstand. Peter Whittingham Grandstand. You could do it.
What's your grandstand? You got a name for your grandstand at the minute?
No.
No, but there you are. Peter
Yeah,
Whittingham grandstand. That's
yeah.
ideal. The Peter Whittingham suite upstairs. You know, in level 3, level 2. You know, I don't think they got much names, have they? Peter Whittingham suite would be lovely. You know, sign up and come and have your roast beef every week or whatever in the Peter Whittingham suite. You had the John Charles suite back in the day, didn't you?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Okay,
In Ninian Park,
right.
so, which was a great place, actually.
Aston Villa got the Doug Ellis stand, haven't they?
So,
Aston Villa named one of their stands after Doug Ellis.
Yeah, they got the Doug Ellis stand, yeah.
yeah,
Stand,
no,
yeah.
few
By all
places.
means, name a stand after Peter Whittingham.
Right. David Drews, he's a Tottenham fan, been on the channel previously. Harry Kane, Barmy Army. Right, Harry Kane is reported to go back to Tottenham, isn't he, on training? Now, I seen this yesterday. My first instinct is going back to training and say so long to his mates, if I'm honest with you.
Since what, mate?
My first thought was Harry Kane is reported to be returning to training today, I think.
Well, it is because the PSG moves off now because Messi's going there instead.
But my opinion is that he could well just be going there and say so long to his friends and packing his stuff.
Listen, right? Tottenham all of a sudden putting out all this bullshit, right? And Harry Kane putting out what I call bullshit as well. Yesterday onwards could have been put out earlier in the week if it was bullshit, right? Harry Kane went on strike. Harry Kane wants to go to PSG was the big thing. Where there's been a lot of talk of him going to PSG. He'd have teamed up with Pochettino, go and pick up the wedge, play abroad, right? That move was on, right? Or Man City said they'd be interested if Tottenham dropped the price, right? Yeah. He thought he was away. Now Messi's going into PSG. All of a sudden, Man City have said, you got to drop the price. The party line is, it was always planned. Bollocks. If that was all planned, right, when Kane didn't turn up on Monday and Sky started reporting that he hadn't turned up for training, right, Tottenham would have come straight out and said, listen, Harry Kane's just returned from St. Lucia. He's got to do 10 days in quarantine. He'll be back on Saturday. Why didn't they do that?
I still think he's going to PSG because
I can't see it now.
Mbappe. What they said. El Chicharito TV was lit last night. It was mental, proper mental. But what it did say last night is that Real Madrid are hoping that this Messi will move to PSG would increase the pace of Mbappe going to Real Madrid. Because remember, Mbappe's turned down 3 contracts.
Oh yeah, I think that will happen as well, mate.
Right. So if that happens,
is it a great move?
need a striker.
Is it a great move by PSG bringing in Messi? Because it's just saying it 25 million a year after tax for Messi. That's worth, right? If you invest in that then Mbappe might think, hang on, or they say to Mbappe, forget about Real Madrid. Look, we got Messi in our side now.
Yeah.
Stay a couple of years to play with one of the greatest legends in football.
The nerve of El Chicharito TV, Clive. We're lower league. With all due respect to Brentford, we are lower league football fans, and the nerve of Real Madrid and Barcelona on El Chicharito last night was, how can PSG get away with this? How can whatever happened to FFP? This is coming from Real Madrid and Barcelona. As a lower league fan for many years, Clive, until this season, what's your kind of thoughts about these clubs? Just in my opinion, they're ruining football. In my
FFP
opinion.
Doesn't exist with your top teams in the world. Just does not exist. Because if it did, Man City would be having points deductions, wouldn't they? Without a doubt.
So many ways around those regulations.
The smaller clubs, we get hit all the bleeding time.
Yeah, look at QPR. QPR.
Yeah, well, they deserve it.
But also as well, Clive. If that kind of money went into a Real Madrid or something, not that kind of money, but the equivalent of that kind of money went into a higher club, no one would have batted an eyelid.
No. No.
You have to. What about?
Brownie's gone.
I told you coming on the most unprofessional show on YouTube live, didn't I?
Hey, maybe he's gone for a bit more of that.
Here comes the wanker.
Whoa.
He went for a tissue.
No, but what? I'm sorry, but what happened? What about Salford? What about Salford City when they were, bloody the 50th? They were buying players from Aberdeen, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Just right, outside the top bloody handful of clubs, it just doesn't. It's just ridiculous. This FFP is just ridiculous.
I might be wrong, but I'm under the belief that Sheffield Wednesday have they not sold their ground to a whole company in a bid to like offset this FFP.
Yeah, they put a block on that. There was a loop. There's so many loopholes, but one of them was you sold your ground to your new company, right, and stuff like that to get around the regulations. They've been out doing all sorts, Clive.
That's right, Derby.
Derby again, Derby.
Yeah,
but the FFP has never ever worked since it was introduced. People find so many loopholes. If you've got the money, there's always loopholes. Right, always loopholes.
Yeah, right. Sergio Aguero. Now, it was breaking news on a day's
one more point about Messi. Why has he gone to PSG? My thinking is he's gone to PSG. He's always played his football with Barcelona, hasn't he? He's a one-club man. Why didn't he come to Man City where it's tougher? I reckon he's gone to bleeding PSG because he doesn't need the money. He's gone to PSG because it's an easy title, isn't it?
Yeah.
PSG are going to win the league. So that's another medal he's got.
The French league is a farmers' league. I know people don't like me saying that because
it's not about the money, Clive. But 25 million a year, all right, is going to cost him. He's going to pay 25 million.
Yeah, but he's a multi-millionaire already, though.
He is, mate. Yeah, but you'd have thought I would have hoped he'd had a bit more ambition, right? And all that money. Like before I end my career, I want to go and play in the Premiership. I tell you, I know this is a dream, mate, but I'd love to see a player, him or Ronaldo or one of the big fucking eye earners, right? When they bank, he must have 500 million quid in a bank. It must be nearly a billionaire, I'd have thought, Messi, right? With all his sponsorship and all the rest of it.
He got a private beach in Barcelona.
Well, exactly, mate, right? Do you know what? I'd love to see a player like that. Just come and say, right, I'm just going to say West Ham as an example, right? But come through and say, look, I'm not doing it for money, but I've always been an admirer of, let's just say, we won't use West Ham because that would be too biased. Let's just say, I don't know, fucking Aston Villa, right? Right. Say to his agent, right, get me a season at Aston Villa. Let me go and help Aston Villa fill their ground or help them progress up the Premiership. Because do you imagine Messi playing for, say, Aston Villa?
Yeah,
it'd be massive, wouldn't it? Especially for Aston Villa, and put something back to the game that way, really, mate. And it never happens, of course it don't.
Right, listen.
It's a dream.
Listen, last season I was watching Messi very closely because obviously I was in Spain watching La Liga, and I can honestly say this. It was noticeable. It was very noticeable for people who watch La Liga very closely that Messi's performances are going downhill now. Right?
Was that a case? Because he wanted to go before the season started. And it's only because Barcelona found the loophole with the option, when the court got that option for the next 12 months.
Yeah, but his age is catching up with him now, Steve. His legs are catching up with him.
At the end of the day, he's 30-odd years old. He's a human
but
being.
I don't listen. There's a reason why the world's best players aren't playing in the Premier League. Let's be completely honest, right? And it's because of the wear and tear week in, week out of the Premier League.
I don't think he fancied it. I think Clive's on the money.
Yeah, he is on the money, but Clive is bang on the money. I personally don't think, and I think Messi realises it. That's why Sergio Ramos went to PSG. Right? It's basically they come to the end of their career, and there's no way their body would cope with week in, week out Premier League football.
And it's business, mate. To them, it is business. It's 50 million quid for a 2-year deal, mate. You know, who would turn down 50 million?
It's Williams 98 brings up a good point. He's been tearing apart Premier League teams in Champions League for years. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. Good point.
You're talking over a period of time. You're talking over a period of time, and not at this moment in time with his legs in time. I don't think he would do it. And the Premier League, you have to watch now. Premier League as a brand needs to watch, because I tell you what, it's becoming quite apparent now, in my opinion, that the top players are deciding moves away from Premier League clubs. It'd be very interesting if Haaland actually does come to the Premier League. And Mbappe. Let's see if those players, because do they want to prolong a career by not going to the Premier League? Or do they want to risk it and have a shorter career by going to the Premier League and having that week in, week out, battering on your body week in, week out? It's just my opinion, really. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Clive it's an easy option, isn't it, going to PSG?
Yeah.
For me, it's the easiest option. Could Man City, I suppose they could afford him, but do they really want a 30-odd-year-old, for £25 million a year? Not sure. They just signed Grealish. Man City like to bring him in younger, don't they, and see him through. They've proved that over the years, haven't they? Your companies, you got Grealish now. Aguero was another one, wasn't he?
That's right.
Man City let him go when he got their 30s, mate. More than, we had what did we have? We had, what's his name at the back? I can't remember his bloody name now. Zappa. We had him at the back after Man City. Zabaleta. He had a great career at Man City, didn't he? I don't think although Messi's that superstar, I don't think he would have gone to Man City, mate. I don't think Man City would have been that interested, to be honest, especially at £25 million a year.
Yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately. It's over an hour. I
got tracks to do today. Saturday morning, I got to catch up on all my work.
Hey, guys, thank you.
Have you got 5 more minutes? Because there's one more thing that I wanted to bring up regarding Ivan Toney.
Bring it up.
It's a controversial subject of taking the knee, right? Now, when we played West Ham last week, all West Ham players took the knee. Brentford didn't, right?
Right.
Brentford made a decision last season, and it's via Ivan Toney not to take the knee, right? Brentford have been told by the FA this year that they have to take the knee before the start of the game. Every Premier League team has to take the knee, right? And Brentford have said, yeah, okay. Ivan Toney made a statement yesterday stating that he will not take the knee. And he will not take it because he feels, and it's the reason why he stopped taking it in February, he feels it's an empty gesture. He's been subject of online racial abuse plenty of times before. He's seen no change whatsoever since people have been taking the knee. What's the FA going to do about that, do you think? And what are your thoughts on it?
You know what, Clive, you just... Go on, Steve, go on.
Well, at the end of the day, he's not contracted to take the knee. It's not his playing contract.
But the FA have told them to.
I know the FA have told the clubs to. Yeah, I get that, right? But I don't think the FA can do anything, right? If he refuses to take it.
We'd probably fine the club, and the club would have to pass
hey, listen, it's been signed up to... Remember, each club is signed up to the FA, right? In that constitution, right, or whatever you want to call it, it won't be in there that you have to take the knee to be a member of the FA, So I can't see. They can make a lot of noise about it, but I can't see Brentford if they got fined by the FA, they'd have a great case to go to court and say, hang on, no, you can't fine us that. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be interesting, Clive, if on week 1 Ivan Toney is the only one not to take a knee out of every player of every club. How
As
many
it-
on? How
As
many
it stands right now, that will be the case next
Yeah.
Friday night.
So
I
hang on. Hang on, let me
hope
finish my
he
point. Let me
sticks to his
finish my point.
principle because
He will, Dale. There's no
taking
doubt
a
he
knee
will.
has made no difference whatsoever.
Let me finish my point. Right. My point being, on week 1, if it's only Ivan Toney, how many will it be then on week 2?
Yeah, exactly. But
You know?
a lot of football fans don't want taking the knee in the game anyway, right? Even people who don't watch football. My missus hates football. When she sees him taking a knee, she's outraged. Politics should not be in sport. As simple as that. And this taking a knee, all it's done is divided fans, mate. And I think as the season progresses now, and fans are back in the ground, you're going to see a backlash.
I think it should just be, look, it's personal opinion. If you want to take a knee, take it. If you don't, you don't. Let's just.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Brownie. I couldn't give a monkeys if they take it or not.
Yeah, I know.
The only thing that winds me up about fans moaning about it is some are so bloody ignorant. They fully believe that players take the knee in support of this George Floyd fella, when it's got absolutely nothing to do with him whatsoever. But that's the case that they state. Oh, he's supporting the...
Well, I could get you someone on this show.
Hey, don't.
Let's not even go there. There's a lad
George
called
Floyd.
Steve Thomas we know, and he would argue all day long and that would give you the history of it and the whole bloody thing of it, right? And it's far too deep for that. I'm not interested in listening to it, if you know what I mean. But he starts going on about it. But when you do look into it, I've done a show with him actually. You go back on one of the days back, he's one of the first shows. And when he explains it, it does make a bit of sense. But it's not just George Floyd, it's all to do with Marxism and back and all sorts. But politics should not be in football or any sport.
Right.
Whether it's about racism, whether it's about whatever. We go to football to get away from all that shit.
Listen, let's just put it down to personal opinion. Players should be given the option whether they want to or not. And if that was the case,
everyone's got a different opinion, but I know a lot of Cardiff fans don't want it. I know a lot of Brentford fans don't want it. I know a lot of West Ham fans don't, and I know on vice versa, a lot do.
Yeah,
but the bottom line is politics should never ever enter sport.
No,
we are the fans of football. We go just on a Saturday afternoon to have a few beers, watch a game of football, to get away with the shit that we have to put up with for our working league or whatever, right? Yeah, and it should not be in football.
Right, and I'm not.
Brownie, next Friday's match. Your prediction, please.
Oh, I'm going to go 1-0.
1-0. Daya, yours, please.
I think you're going to beat Arsenal 1-0.
I'm going 2-1.
2-1 to Brentford.
2-1 Brentford, yeah.
Oh,
and my son reckons 3-1.
Good luck.
You know what? Hey, Clive, my heart will be with you next week because I'd love to see Brentford beat Arsenal.
You and Nathan do the watching on then?
As a West Ham fan, we were always the underdogs, didn't we? But I just love underdogs, mate.
Will you and Nathan be doing a watch along?
On the Brent, yeah, go on then. It might be Jakey Cox, it might be, I'll tell you what, I'll give you that. It's a Saturday, is it a Saturday?
Friday night, next Friday night, 8 o'clock.
They are, book it in. Watch along, Arsenal versus Brentford on the
day's banter.
On the day's banter, we'll all be cheering on Brentford. I might even go get a Brentford scarf.
Get in there.
Right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you everyone in the chat as well. Just one more thing, people in the chat as well. Please spread this out. I can't do it this season today, but okay, obviously we can't do it today because I got a wedding. But in future Cardiff home games, I'm looking for people who want to come on and do fan cams outside the ground. Right, so I'm going to invest in a outdoor microphone. And we're going to have some fun and games outside Cardiff City Stadium, in which I'm sure many of you would want to join in. So if you know anyone who wants to come on for a chat, I don't want no messing around, you know. But also as well, I don't want no regulars. Do you know what I mean? I want to mix it up, unlike
your best bet is just go down the ground and pick them out. pick them out when.
Yeah, I know, but also, you know, if people want to, listen, let's just.
I had fun getting outside Nidian Park a few times.
I know.
Film that.
But anyway,
great
listen,
place,
I'm putting out.
I love going to Ninian Park. I've got so many memories. My greatest game of, even I'm a West Ham fan, obviously, my greatest game of football that I've ever seen in my life, and it would never be repeated, was Cardiff City versus Leeds. What a fucking game of football! What an atmosphere! What a weekend! It was just something else.
Brilliant. But anyway, I'm just putting out there, guys, if you're from the Cardiff area, obviously Cardiff fan, or even if you're an away fan, you know, get in contact, or I'm going to probably be in the same spot every home game. May not happen during the month of August, probably September onwards, okay? But it's definitely going to be
One more point before we go, Browner.
Yeah?
Everybody in here, if you haven't subscribe to the Days Banter Show, because we have some serious banter about football on the Days Banter. I'm 20 away from 200. I'm only into my third week. I'm flying high, as they say, right? And we will be covering some Cardiff City news as well. And I do like a bit of Cardiff City.
What Fabrizio Brownie is on a case, is he?
Yeah. You could be our mascot, Brownie.
Clive, many thanks for coming on with Brownie and Daya show. Hope you.
Thanks for having me on, gents.
No worries. And Daya, keep on investing in Bitcoin, my friend. Keep on taking my fucking advice. Right. Yeah. On that note.
Now you've said that, it'd probably go and crash at lunchtime. But there we go. Clive, good to see you again, buddy. I'll catch you later on, maybe, mate. And see you later, Brownie.
Take care, guys. Many thanks. Bye-bye.